You know that weird moment when everything's actually going well, and then out of nowhere, you ghost your goals, sabotage your progress, or talk yourself out of taking the next step? Yeah, that's not random. That's self-sabotage, and it's sneakier than you think. We all do it. Not because we're broken or lazy, but because some part of us feels safer messing things up than risking real change. So if you've ever found yourself saying, "Why do I keep doing this to myself?" You're not alone. And today, we're flipping the script. Let's start by recognizing what self-sabotage actually looks like, because it's not always some dramatic meltdown. Sometimes it's way more subtle. Sometimes self-sabotage shows up dressed like productivity. Take procrastination, for example. You tell yourself you're just waiting for the perfect time to start. But deep down, that perfect time is just a delay tactic your brain uses to avoid discomfort. That big project, that conversation, that leap you want to take, you freeze. Not because you can't do it, but because starting feels like a threat to your comfort zone. Or maybe you're the overcommitter. You pile on responsibilities until you burn out, then wonder why you're always exhausted and behind. Perfectionism sneaks in here too. You set impossible standards, and when you can't meet them, you use it as proof that you were never good enough in the first place. Then there's the quiet self-sabotage, those internal whispers that say, "This won't work," or "Who do you think you are?" They sound like logic, but they're just fear in disguise. And let's not forget the classic, obsessing over every possible way things could go wrong under the label of being realistic. But truthfully, that's just mentally rehearsing failure. The first step to changing the game is seeing the game. So pause and ask, where does sabotage show up in your life looking like responsibility, logic, or even ambition? Spotting it is how you start stealing back your power. It's easy to assume self-sabotage means you're lazy or just not disciplined enough. But that's not the real story. Most of the time, sabotage isn't a flaw, it's a defense mechanism. Your brain is trying to protect you, even if it's doing it in a totally unhelpful way. One of the biggest hidden drivers? Fear. Not just fear of failure, but fear of success too. Because success means change. It means new expectations, new attention, and maybe even outgrowing people or places that once felt safe. And whether you realize it or not, your brain is wired to stick with what's familiar even if it sucks. And then there are the beliefs we picked up long before we even knew how to question them. Maybe someone made you feel like you always mess things up. Maybe you were told not to aim too high. Those messages stick. So now, every time you start doing well, your subconscious pulls the emergency brake. There's also something called identity conflict. Let's say you want to be confident, successful, in shape, whatever. But deep down, you don't believe that's who you are. So even if you try, some part of you keeps dragging you back to the version of yourself that feels more familiar. Your brain's not evil. It just likes patterns. Even if the pattern is chaos, if it feels familiar, it feels safe. That's why we repeat the same sabotage loops, because deep down, they match what we expect. But now that you see the why, you can start changing how you respond. And that's exactly what we'll get into next. How that you know self-sabotage isn't random, it's a learned pattern. It's time to actually spot those patterns in real time. Because the sneakiest part, most of us are on autopilot. We're so used to these behaviors, they don't even raise red flags anymore. Start with this. Journal your triggers and behaviors without judgment. Not to shame yourself, but to study yourself. Notice when you suddenly feel stuck, avoidant, or impulsive. What just happened? What were you thinking or feeling right before you bailed on your own goals? The goal here isn't to fix it yet, it's just awareness. Next, tune into your internal narrator. That little voice in your head that always has something to say, listen to it. Is it encouraging or critical? Is it speaking in fear, doubt, sarcasm, or shame? That voice is often running on an old script that you didn't even write. Start asking, whose voice is this? Is it mine, or did I inherit it? Then zoom out and look for cycles. Do you always sabotage right before things go well? Or maybe after a big win, you crash hard. These patterns often repeat in new outfits. Same fear, different situation. It's like your brain saying, let's not get too happy now. And here's a powerful question to ask. What am I afraid will happen if this actually works out? It sounds weird, but the answer can be eye-opening. Sometimes we fear rejection, pressure, or even loneliness if we change too much. But until we name that fear, it keeps driving the car. The more you observe your patterns without shame, the more you disarm them. And once you see the game your brain's playing, you're finally in a position to change the rules. All right, now that you've spotted the patterns and understood the why, let's talk about the how. because awareness without action, that's just another version of getting stuck. The good news is you don't have to overhaul your entire life to stop sabotaging yourself. You just need to flip the script tone small move at a time. First, name the pattern. Call it out. Literally say, "This is me self-sabotaging by overthinking again." Or, "Oh look, it's the I'm not good enough narrative trying to run the show." Giving it a name creates distance. It's no longer you, it's just a story you've been told, and you don't have to keep reading it. Then start practicing micro replacements. These are tiny, manageable swaps that build momentum. If your go-to is procrastination, try 5 minutes of the task instead. If your brain starts spiraling, replace it with a mantra like, "It's okay to try." You're not trying to become a superhero overnight. You're just gently rerouting the mental habits that have been on autopilot. Use something called implementation intentions. It's simple but powerful. Instead of vague goals, use statements like, "If I feel overwhelmed, I'll pause and take 3 breaths." Or, "If I want to quit, I'll text a friend for accountability." Your brain loves plans, it calms the chaos. And finally, build self-trust by celebrating action, not outcomes. Every time you follow through, even a little, acknowledge it. That's how you teach your brain a new story, that you can handle it, that it's safe to grow, and that effort matters more than perfection. You're not broken, you're just rewiring. One small shift at a time. Look, self-sabotage isn't about being weak or lazy, it's about survival instincts that got a little too comfortable. The same brain that's been tripping you up, it can also be trained to lift you up. You just have to start paying attention, challenging the old script, and rewriting it with something better, something true. So here's your challenge. Pick one thing from this video, just one. Maybe it's journaling your sabotage triggers. Maybe it's calling out that inner critic next time it speaks up. Maybe it's giving yourself permission to try, even if it's messy. Whatever it is, start small. Start now. The magic happens when you interrupt the pattern and act anyway, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. And hey, if this hit home for you, drop a comment and let me know which part made you go, "Okay, wow, that's me." Because you're not alone in this. And the more we talk about it, the less power it has over us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or share this with someone who keeps getting in their own way. Let's flip the script together. And if you find yourself constantly stuck in your head, replaying conversations, second-guessing every decision, or worrying about things that haven't even happened yet, then you need to check out my video called "How to Actually Stop Overthinking." It's the perfect next step after this one. That video will walk you through why your brain gets stuck in analysis loops and, more importantly, how to break free from that mental noise so you can finally move forward with clarity and confidence.